Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the 3 hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Doyle discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster, you know, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network. Lein, co-host of Kulturecast. Chris Stachiw couldn't be here today, so I am hosting.
I, Yashar, Red Dragon, Pirasteh, will be co-hosting. That was
Unfortunately, because I'm the host, it means I can't do a themed intro. I don't know what I would have done, though, because I've only seen this movie once. We're talking about The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
An international criminal organization with an atom bomb. We have no choice but to work together on this.
America teaming up with Russia. That doesn't sound very friendly.
We'll leave you two to get acquainted.
I'll let you tag along, but it's in and out, no mess, and we both forget about in the morning.
This is not the Russian way.
You are to investigate Victoria Vinciguerra.
They will send an army to stop us.
We must give them an appropriate welcome.
It stars Henry Cavill, Armie Hammer, Alicia Vikander, Elizabeth Debicki. It's directed by Guy Ritchie, and he also helped to write the screenplay. The description on IMDb is, in the early 1960s, CIA agent Napoleon Solo and KGB operative Ilya Kuryakin participate in a joint mission against a mysterious criminal organization which is working to proliferate nuclear weapons. What did you think about it, Yashar?
It was really fun. It was well shot. The editing was really cool, and I absolutely loved the costumes, which is a weird thing to say, but if you've seen the movie, it's like a thing. And Elizabeth Debicki or whatever, I've never seen her before, but like she was like an evil, sexy, amazing cat the whole movie. It was like that's the best way to describe her, and she was like really interesting. And Alicia Vikander was in Ex Machina. I don't know if you've seen that before, but it was kind of cool to see her. I thought she was really good in that, and it was kind of cool to see her do like something totally different. And I'm a big Henry Cavill and Armie Hammer fan. It's kind of weird to be an Armie Hammer fanboy, but I've only seen like one or two things, and I think I'm like all in on him. And there's something wonderfully wonderful about a British guy playing an American spy and an American guy playing a Russian spy. And how great of a name is Napoleon Solo?
It's a really weird name.
It's such a great name. But yeah, I mean, it's like a Guy Ritchie movie. It's kind of fast paced, a lot going on, and it was a little bit different than other spy movies. I never watched Sal the Man from U.N.C.L.E. TV show because I'm not like 75 years old. But yeah, I dug it, and I'm kind of disappointed it didn't do so on the box office. But
yeah, as far as on my side of things, I enjoyed The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Stylistically, it's a very interesting, entertaining movie. The character interactions are all pretty good. I can understand why some people might not like it, just because it doesn't really bring anything new to the sort of spy genre, as far as I could tell. But, it's got sort of classical Guy Ritchie editing styles and sound design. At one point, the two spies, or at one point, Armie Hammer is following Alicia Vikander, who plays Gabby, and Gabby is in a car with somebody else, and they're having a conversation, and you don't hear the dialogue because the windows are rolled up, and you see subtitles because they're talking in Italian, and it cuts back to Armie Hammer listening in on a bug, and that's when you hear the dialogue, until it cuts back to Gabby and the person she's talking to, and she rolls down the window, and then you can hear it. And there's a lot of little things like that sort of are interesting, but I don't think they really play well for, your standard moviegoer. I think if I didn't appreciate interesting editing in movies, it would probably have sort of drawn me out of the film, and I wouldn't have liked it. But just because I'm a film student, when I notice things like that, instead of going, oh, that's really bad, I go, oh, that's interesting. I can see why they did it,
Like, there's one scene in particular that stands out when Armie Hammer and Napoleon and Ilya are both chasing Alicia Vikander's character to, try to save her, and they're both in different cars, and you see it, it cuts between them. And then it does these wide angle shots where it kind of sweeps out, so you see them both, and then zooms back in. It's almost hard to keep up with, but it's also interesting to see on screen at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And
it does a lot of that stuff that you see in old school TV shows and movies, where it split screens or it does wipes from one shot to the other, and the border of the wipe isn't just. It's not just non-existent. It's got a yellow line or something.
Yeah. And even
so that you can clearly see the wipe.
Even the subtitles are stylish.
Mm-hmm.
So they're very big and yellow, and they kind of take up the whole screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I thought all the actors did a pretty good job. Henry Cavill's American accent is really, really good. And Armie Hammer's guy, he's a little bit more honorable, I guess you could say, than Napoleon Solo, but he definitely
and also
has
a little bit psychotic too.
Yeah, so I was saying he has a lot of internal turmoil, and I really liked how they portrayed that, and his relationship with Vikander's character, Gabby, how they're will they, won't they, and he's just it's weird. It's he's very restrained, but at the same time you can see underneath there's something very wrong with him, and it was just interesting because. One small thing will set him off, but he personality wise, he's the complete opposite of laid back Napoleon, and I think they play off each other pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And Gabby's a nice, different character who also brings something new to the table.
Mm-hmm. And I like not even talking about their characters specifically. I like the way that their characters interact. Henry Cavill and Armie Hammer.
Yeah,
there's that shot where they're cutting through the chain link fence.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
And Henry Cavill is using these bolt cutters to cut one line at a time, and Armie Hammer is like, "What is that?" And Henry says, "It's their wire clippers sharpened by a boron CS laser or something weird like that."
Yeah.
And then Armie Hammer just whips out the laser and slashes through the fence, and he's like, "Boron CS laser."
Yeah. Or when Napoleon finds a bunch of bugs put on him by the Russians, and he throws them at Ilya, and then Ilya throws them. He's like, wait here 1 second. and then he like goes and gets like the American bugs, and they're like lower tech versions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's like a lot of small things because they start off pretty antagonistic because the opening like 20 minutes is like this really cool chase sequence between them, and I want to say the one thing I really liked about that sequence, there's a lot of times in other movies where the villain would just been like, you know, who would have driven past or been dumb or kind of just not followed up, like they got away. But this movie did things that happen in typical chase sequences, but small things like he noticed shadows moving. He didn't like drive past them when they went in the corner and then never find them again. Like you see in movies all the time.
Because he's also a primary character.
Right. But
so they can't have him be a schmuck.
I get that, but I liked how like they showed he's uber competent.
Mm-hmm.
I think uber is a correct word to use because of the because of the nature of the film. But yeah, and I will say the one kind of weakness in the movie is I mentioned Elizabeth Debicki, her character and her husband are like these moguls of this shipping corporation that had like Nazi ties, and they're like doing development on nuclear weapons that they're gonna, I guess, sell to the highest bidder. And other than them just kind of being like evil, they didn't really have motives except it just had they had family ties to Nazis. And I guess it's not that big of a deal because the movie wasn't particularly serious, and it's not like they're meant to be super deep characters, and her performance was really good. But
were they like Italian nobility under Mussolini, and so that's why they're still Nazis?
It's the uncle. It was because she married into the company, right?
Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies. Inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
So it's like her husband's father or uncle. I think her husband's father, was
a rich guy under Mussolini.
Yeah, and so he worked with the Nazis during the war, and then the son took over, and apparently he was like sort of a Nazi, and she was like really into it, and she kind of pushed him that, and then because the whole premise is they're doing that, they kidnap Gabby's father, whose brother, Gabby's uncle, works for them
as like a horrible.
I don't remember, but he's just like he basically tortures people, does crazy experiments. And Hugh Grant's in the movie too as a British. He's basically like the British. Is he MI6? He's like the head of MI6 or something like British naval something.
Yeah, he's just a British spy handler.
Yeah, he didn't have a huge role, but I thought he had a nice role in it too. Like I thought all the performances were really.
Mengele, that's the scientist.
That's when they did all the experiments.
Yeah, Mendeleev is somebody else.
Yeah, and that guy's good at being like evil in German. He was also in
Yeah.
He was also in Sense8 as like an evil German gangster. I don't know if you saw that new Netflix show by the Wachowskis.
Mm-hmm. No, I haven't watched that yet. You keep recommending it. I just haven't seen it yet.
It's super weird, but I dug it. But anyways, I recognized him from that. Sylvester Groth is his name.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently he was in another movie called Mein Führer, Die wirklich Wahrheit über Adolf Hitler. So they're like, this guy is good at being a German Nazi. I mean, do you agree with me that the villains kind of weren't fleshed out that well?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in this movie that's not entirely fleshed out, as far as I'm concerned. The whole relationship between Vikander and Armie Hammer.
I kind of liked it. It was weird and sort of sudden.
Yeah, it was super sudden to me. And I guess it makes sense after you watch the end of the movie. It sort of makes sense because she's intentionally trying to play him.
But I didn't feel like. I feel like her feelings were genuine the whole time.
I mean, I think so. Maybe at the end, but I think the reason why the beginning of the movie is her in Eastern Germany, right?
Yes.
And Henry Cavill comes to free her and get her out of Eastern Germany, and Armie Hammer is chasing them to stop them.
Right, because he's looking for the Germans and the Americans are both looking for her father.
Right, they're just not working together yet.
Right.
So Henry Cavill and Alicia Vikander get out of Eastern Germany into Western Germany, and then Armie Hammer shows up and is like, "Hey, we're working together now."
Mm-hmm.
And he gets assigned to act as her fiance, and that's how she got out to visit her dad and uncle. And the very first, all of their interactions up until the first night at their hotel is, I hate you, I don't want to be your fiance, fuck Russia. And Armie Hammer's like, I am a Russian spy.
Which is why, because the movie almost sets up the first half hour, you're like, oh, it's going to be Napoleon solo. And then there's nothing romantic between them. Napoleon, gets his bond on with every other girl in the movie, but
right? Which that's interesting to me.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that Henry Cavill's I like that the initial assumption isn't what pans out, but I feel like they go from I hate Russia to let's wrestle and then bone really quickly.
Yeah, and
not that they actually bone.
It kind of occurs, I think, in that first night when they're together. When he's telling her about the architecture and then they get robbed, I think during that time it kind of clicks for her. And she's sort of a playful character, and I feel like she just kind of wants to see how far she can push him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. I just think from what is shown on screen up until that point, it feels very rushed and sudden.
It was sudden, for sure. But then again, things like that happen in real life or even occur way more quickly, So
yeah, but not if your initial interaction with each other is I fucking hate you and hope you die.
But then
you and your entire organization have oppressed me and my people for years.
It wasn't the Russians that oppressed her. It was the Nazis.
No, it was the Russians in Eastern Germany that were oppressing her at the time of the movie.
Was it?
Yeah, man. That's the whole thing is it's the Cold War, man.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
The Nazi bad guys are just survivors of World War II.
You're right. Yeah, I don't know. It was quick, but it sort of worked, and I liked how he basically spends the whole movie resisting her, and then she's basically teasing him, and then they never even kiss in the movie, because every time they're about to, something happens.
Mm-hmm. Here's my question. Do you think they should make a sequel to this film?
I do, but based on the opening weekend, I doubt they will, unless it does amazing overseas, which is possible because it strikes me as a movie that could do pretty well overseas.
Mm-hmm. Because it is more Italian and Russian than it is American. And, I mean, like you said, Henry Cavill starts out as the main character and then sort of goes off and does his own shit.
Yeah, and I mean, Guy Ritchie has a pretty big following in Europe already, so not that he's not popular in America, but it's it's not like the product is bad and that's why it didn't make money. It's just I think the marketing wasn't as strong as it could have been. Although I thought the trailers were pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I can't point to the exact reason why it did poorly. Although Straight Outta Compton did very well. I think did a lot better than most people expected it to, and that probably took a lot of the business from, because most people see one movie a weekend, right? Mm-hmm. So I think the surprise success of that kind of detracted from The Man from U.N.C.L.E. coming out.
Yeah, see, I liked the movie, but I don't know if I want them to make a sequel.
No.
Because I don't know what else you could do with the character interaction to do anything new other than to play up a love triangle thing.
But it's not really, because he's not really into Gabby, or Napoleon's not.
No, right, and I get that, but what I'm saying is, if they made a sequel, either it would be the same character interaction of Henry Cavill and Armie Hammer trying to one-up each other, or if they wanted to bring something new into the character dynamic, the only thing I can think of would be a love triangle.
Or you could expand the cast, add new people. I mean, I just feel like there's a lot of things you could say. You could apply that to most sequels, right? It's like, why make this sequel? You know, why make a sixth Star Wars? Luke's still Leia's brother. You know, like, I don't know.
But the thing is, there's the dynamic of this film is clearly centered on the competition between Henry Cavill and Armie Hammer.
Right. So, I mean, would it be that hard to think of some crazy thing for them to go do?
But they're working together, and I'm not saying I couldn't watch a second movie of Henry Cavill and Armie Hammer trying to outspy each other, but I think that if they were going to make a sequel, they would think, let's try and add a dynamic, change it up a little bit, make it a little different, and I think I feel like they would probably go the way of, hey, they're teammates now, they're still going to try and one-up each other spy-wise, but now Armie Hammer and Henry Cavill both kind of want Alicia Vikander.
Right.
Vikander?
And another thing you can do with her is, now that, like, we've established it, spoilers, if anyone hasn't seen the movie.
Plug your ears. Not that we haven't already talked about it.
that she's also a spy. Obviously not as well trained because she was sort of recently picked up by the British. But, you know, it'd be kind of cool seeing her more in the field, too. Mm-hmm. Since we've established that, you know, she's at least a competent spy, and obviously she would get better as she's, like, working with them. Mm-hmm. And it's not like she has anything else going on. I don't think she's going back to her mechanic shop in East Germany. So I mean, you could play with that too. But like I said, I doubt there's a sequel, but I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it at all, because I mean, it was a very slick and fun movie. I think that's a good way to describe it.
And it definitely didn't take itself too seriously either.
Not at all.
It's not like some Guy Ritchie movies that are like, now we're going to feed people to pigs and shit, you know?
And I know the Sherlock Holmes movies are pretty well received, and it's been a while since I've seen the first one, but I think I like this. Not that those are bad, although I wasn't a huge fan of the second one. I like this better than the two Sherlock Holmes movies. And I only say that because those are kind of his two biggest and most recent movies. And it's tonally kind of similar to those.
Mm-hmm. I think I could go with that. I think the Sherlock Holmes movies are a little too... I mean, my problem is I used to read the Sherlock Holmes books, and...
Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
So...
Incoming, it's not like the books.
No, I mean, it's just... They do pretty heavily alter the character of Sherlock Holmes just to make him, you know...
Robert Downey
entertaining on film. instead of having, Watson fight people or something like that.
Yeah.
Because Sherlock Holmes is not a physical character in the books. And it is a pretty heavy alteration to make him analyze every move he's going to make in slow motion and then do it all really quickly and fuck some people up.
Yeah, and that got played out after they did it like 3 times in a row. I was like, right. I get it.
Whereas this movie, the characters are, they're badasses, and so it's not like there's any... And also, this movie feels more fun to me than the Sherlock Holmes movies did.
Yeah, and I like how Napoleon, like he said, like he was like an ex-soldier or whatever, but he's also basically this world-class thief, and even though he's basically like blackmailed into working, it's like go to jail or work for us for X years, of CIA, when I say us, the CIA, I like how he's still got a lot of thief in him, and he does things that he's not like when I saw the trailer, I basically thought he would be like Ilya's character, where he is like very straight-laced, but like a womanizer, maybe like a James Bond type character. But he's like a James Bond character with women, with as far as like how he interacts with them. But he's not, he just dresses well, but he'll take like the path less traveled, or he'll do things that are morally ambiguous.
And he's got a little more wit to him than James Bond does too.
Yeah. He spends a significant amount of the film trolling the Russian Armie Hammer's character.
And Armie Hammer is more of the sort of hard-nosed, toe the line type spy.
Right. He's like because he's volunteering to do it. His thing is like, I want to be the best spy ever. Whereas Henry Cavill's like, I have the skills to be the best spy, but I'm just doing this so I'm not in jail. And it's like a pride thing for him, because Armie Hammer even says at one point, he's like, you want to be. You had to work for them, but you don't have to necessarily be the best American spy, right? It's like it's appealing to his ego. They both have huge egos, and that's kind of what drives them.
Some of the trivia for The Man from U.N.C.L.E. says that initially the role of Napoleon Solo was supposed to go to Tom Cruise or George Clooney. How do you think that would have affected the film?
I feel like Clooney has a lot of the same mannerisms as how Cavill portrayed the character, kind of smooth but like very sardonic. So I think his portrayal would have been pretty similar. Tom Cruise I think Tom Cruise would have been a better Ilya, just because Tom Cruise is intense, He just looks like when he's doing a role, like he's fully invested in it, and he just has like this intense look, and he has shown he can do actually more comedic roles. He just doesn't do it that often. So I'm a pretty big Tom Cruise fan, so I'm down to see him in most things. So I wouldn't mind him as Napoleon Solo, but I think he would have made a more interesting Ilya just based on what I've seen him in. But I think it's just one of those movies that was stuck in development hell for so long, and then Cruise and Clooney had to pass just because they had other things going on. So that's how we got.
I'm glad it went to Henry Cavill, because I think that George Clooney would have been too old to really. I like that they feel sort of the same age.
Yeah, I think Hammer's a little younger, but probably no more than like 5 or 6 years.
Right, whereas their sort of spy characters sort of feel like they've been doing it for the same amount of time.
Right.
But if it had been Armie Hammer and George Clooney would have 20, 30 years of experience on Armie Hammer's spy.
Well, I wonder if they had cast Clooney or Cruise, they would have cast someone else who is older.
Oh, as Armie?
You see what I'm saying?
I mean, as Ilya?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would have been a little disappointing. I think I really liked Armie Hammer as Ilya.
Yeah, no, I think Armie Hammer is a pretty talented and interesting actor, and I want to see him do more things. It's unfortunate. He was in Lone Ranger, which was sort of a flop. Like, it made a lot of money worldwide, but overall, I think it was considered a disappointment. Now, I haven't seen it, and I don't necessarily. But based on what I read, it's not like he was the problem with it. But, between that and this, which has actually gotten pretty decent critical reviews, but it just, it didn't make a lot of money, and it's, sometimes there's nothing you can do about that. I hope that he still gets significant roles, because I do enjoy seeing him in things.
Yeah, he hasn't been in a whole lot of stuff either.
I mean, he's kind of a new actor, because I think Social Network was his first big movie, and how old's that movie? Like 5-6 years? So
Social Network was in 2010, so yeah, 5 years.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not like he's been a name for that long. He was in Mirror Mirror, which I didn't see. I heard it was a Tarsem movie. Tarsem's pretty cool, except I heard Selfless was garbage. But I didn't see that. I heard it was okay. And then, like I said, Lone Ranger, there's that kind of that. I feel like Lone Ranger's a John Carter. Did you see John Carter?
And Mars?
Yeah, well, it wasn't. It was just called John Carter, but
right, like the thing where he's the Confederate soldier goes to Mars.
Yeah, did you see that movie with Taylor Kitsch?
Yeah, I saw that.
I feel like there's a similar thing like that where like I actually like John Carter, but it was really poorly marketed, and there's just a lot of things wrong with how they tried to sell that movie, and it kind of slowed Taylor Kitsch's momentum. Although he's managed to still do a lot of stuff. I mean, he was just a major role in True Detective, and he's been in plenty of movies. So I don't think this is a death knell for anyone in the film's career. I'm just saying this and Lone Ranger being his last two big releases. I hope it doesn't. And another actor I think I could think of that has a similar career path, Ryan Reynolds. He's been in like some big movies. He's been in some bad movies, but I think overall he's pretty talented. But he keeps getting work, and his last movies haven't done so well. But Deadpool's hopefully going to reverse that trend. So
yeah, he goes from like flop to success. Flop to success.
Like he has a weird career, and he was just in this movie with Helen Mirren. Apparently, it was pretty good, but it's like a drama based on a true story. Like I said, Ryan Reynolds has had a weird, and he did that Voices independent film that was pretty cool. So I feel like people know that Armie Hammer's he's not lacking talent as far as acting goes. So, and then Henry Cavill or Cavill, I don't know how you pronounce it. I think as long as he's doing the Superman thing, he'll keep getting roles. And then
he'll keep getting Superman at least.
Yeah, but usually when you hit it big in that kind of role, you get other stuff too. And then Alicia Vikander, like I said, Ex Machina was like her breakout role. And I think she's going to do some pretty big things. And I do hope to see that Elizabeth Debicki, like I mentioned, the sexy cat, and other stuff, because she was like deliciously evil. And she only wore like black and white things. I kept noticing the costumes in the movie. Like Illy would always wear turtlenecks, except when he wore suits. And then Napoleon had like the dopest tailor ever. I loved all his suits, and it was such a stylish movie, and
Alicia Vikander's costumes were like all color.
Yeah, they were just like these like crazy, wacky, like Kanye West sunglasses.
I mean, it was old school '60s fashion for sure.
And yeah, I hope, and I just hope that all the young actors in the movie. I mean, it had Jared Harris, Hugh Grant, but those guys are established. This movie's not going to really affect their career one way or the other, I would imagine. But for the three young leads, I hope to see them do, or I guess four if you include the female villain, because she was the true villain, even though her husband had the company. She was the one that was given a lot of screen time.
Right.
I hope to see all four of them in more things. And I actually think Debicki is going to be in that. She's in that the Macbeth with Michael Fassbender film that premiered at Cannes earlier this year. Is it Cannes or Cannes? Whatever. However you pronounce it. So I'm definitely going to check that out, A, because I love Fassbender, and B, it'll be cool to see her in something else. But, I mean, do you want to talk about, like, best performance, or is there anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can do that. Have you checked Rotten Tomatoes yet?
I checked it, like, earlier in the week when the movie came out.
Okay, don't look at it then. Hang on a second.
But I remember it had a pretty decent...
Well, when I looked up tickets, it said it had a 61 critic and an 81 user.
Okay, I remember being like 68 or something when I saw.
What do you? So here, we're just going to start it. Don't say that you've already seen it or anything. Okay. So Yashar, before we start talking about best performances and whether or not we should skip it or watch it, what do you think the Tomatoes says about The Man from U.N.C.L.E?
Like somewhere between like 65, 70, like 68%. And then, I mean, I would give it probably closer to a 7 or an 8 myself, but I know. I was saying, I know it got generally good reviews. It wasn't panned or anything.
So the tomato is 67%,
Okay.
With the critic consensus being, it's not certified fresh, so it doesn't have a full consensus yet. But it says, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. tries to distract from an unremarkable story with charismatic stars and fizzy set pieces, adding up to an uneven action thriller with just enough style to overcome its lack of substance.
I think that's fair, and we kind of talked about that as far as like the villains go.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a fair assessment, but I feel like it's a little harsher than it actually is.
Yeah, it wasn't devoid of any substance, but it was definitely more performance and style driven.
Right.
It wasn't. It's not like you're reading that script and being like, this script is so good, like these narrative twists and this and this and this. It's more like these actors are so good and this movie looks great, like visually.
Right. And then the audience score is 81% out of
100?
21,000 user ratings.
So it seems like people that did see it liked it.
Mm-hmm. Generally, it seems to me that the audience members that have watched it have enjoyed it, and critics are, on the fence about it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it for sure.
I enjoyed it too. What we didn't talk about that I wanted to briefly mention? The scene where they're escaping on boat and they're trapped in the shipping area. And it was such a weird scene. And Henry Cavill, Napoleon, falls off the boat. And
I kind of don't want to talk about this. This is probably one of my favorite scenes of the whole movie.
Okay. You don't.
I kind of want to. Yeah, I kind of want to leave this one unexplained.
It was weird.
So that when people go see this, they can watch it and be like, oh.
Okay. It's a weird scene, and I felt like it dragged a little bit too much, but it was also kind of amazing.
I totally bought it all the way through.
I was just like, what is his plan? And it's kind of funny how he dispatches the boat is also in the last issue of Batman I read, how Batman dispatches the villain. I'm not joking.
I also really liked the torture scene.
Like how that ends?
Yeah, because it starts off with a typical sort of Bondy, Mission Impossible, I'm going to torture you, here's a bad guy monologue. And then the way that it ends is a lot more almost... It's like unintentional.
And they do a lot of that in the movie where it's kind of things happen, then the characters that we're focusing on sort of go away from where the action is. And that's kind of like the boat scene we're talking about. And then sort of, and the movie smartly will pan out. We'll see the characters doing the interaction. But really what we need to pay attention to is what's happening in the background.
Right.
And it's like we as an audience see it, but the characters don't. Because it's like you can't necessarily be behind or around or whatever until you actually visually look at it, but we can because we have the camera. So they do that a few times in the movie, and I think every time they do it, it leads to some usually pretty hilarious and interesting scenes.
Mm-hmm. So skip it, watch it, and best performance.
Watch it. Best performance. So I was gonna say it's a toss up between Hammer and Cavill, but I'm gonna change the game here. I'm going to go with Elizabeth Debicki as, what's her character? Hold on. I can't remember her character's name. Victoria. And she, like I said, she's not given a whole lot of depth, but she's got this crazy look, and she's very, she's got the whole seduction thing going on, but she's maniacal. It's like she's vicious and sweet at the same time. For example, when in the scene when she finally captures Napoleon, how that whole scene occurs, and she's kind of sitting there almost watching him gently fall asleep, but then the next she's there she's like a cat, right? She's sitting there like a cat, and then the next scene she's okay, she's I wish I could stay, but I want you dead now. And she's ruthless and powerful and kind of occasionally funny, and it's a very interesting performance, and I want to see more of her in movies. And could I be saying that because she's incredibly attractive? Yes, but I think she's also as far as this movie goes, a pretty good actress. And she was in The Great Gatsby. She was, I think, Tobey Maguire's love interest, the friend of Joel Edgerton's wife, Daisy. Was it Daisy? Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen that movie.
You haven't seen The Great Gatsby?
I've read the book. I haven't seen the movie.
The movie's not amazing. It's kind of like messy, but really cool visually. But anyways, she was in that. What's up with her in period pieces, right? That, Macbeth, and this. Like, can we get her in something in the present, please? Anyways, so I would say she was probably one of my favorite. I'll just give her performance of the movie.
I'm gonna have to go with watch it. You know, again, plot-wise, there's not anything really new. Some of the stuff isn't really super fleshed out, but I think I really like the characters. Stylistically, it's a very interesting looking movie. The edits are great, the sound design is great, and that's something that I look at a lot as a, hopeful future filmmaker. Best performance, I think I'm going to go with Armie Hammer. Of the three spy characters, I think his character has the most depth.
Yeah, for sure.
He's got a slightly more depressing backstory. He deals with like the rugged strictness of the KGB, but also his own psychosis and also, desire to sort of prove that he's not shameful like his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I like that a lot more because then you also see inside him, his character, you see him dealing with the fact that he likes, Gabby.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Henry Cavill is, throughout the whole movie, Henry Cavill is very, I am the suave thief. I smile and make witty banter.
Yeah, when that attractive hotel lady who works at the hotel comes in and he's like, "You'd be ashamed to drink this by yourself." I was like, "Damn it, you are so smooth, Napoleon." I was like, I am going to use that line someday. you smooth bastard. So we're pretty much we kind of are in sync on how we feel about this movie, I feel like.
All right, Yashar, so do you have anything you'd like to talk about before we call it a day?
Just follow me on Twitter if you like seeing automated messages from the website at Yashar Pirasteh. Is there a dot in my Twitter handle? I can never remember. Do you remember, John?
I don't know. That's not my Twitter.
That's how not often I get on Twitter. Although if you tweet at me, I will respond. And if you're looking to move, I've developed an app called Box Hop. It's BOXHOPP, 2 P's. It's on Android, and hopefully it will be on iOS soon, as I say every week. It's kind of out of my control on that front. Yeah, I think that's it. What about you, John?
Well, my Twitter handle is JohnLeon1. We've got Chronicles from the Crypt that Chris and I do almost every week. We take a week-long break in between seasons, and since this week we're doing the last 2 episodes of season 3, the next week we'll take another week off. We've also got, continue to listen to the Kulturecast. I think next week we're doing Terry Pratchett's Going Postal and 13th Warrior. And both of those movies are really great. We've got interviews for both of them as well. It's Dennis Storhoy for the 13th Warrior and John Jones, who's the director of Going Postal, which Going Postal is based off the Terry Pratchett book of the same name. And the 13th Warrior is who's the guy that wrote Jurassic Park?
Michael Crichton.
Michael Crichton? Yeah, it's a Michael Crichton book called Eaters of the Dead. So keep an eye out for those next week.